Alright, now the tanks. They get a movement of 2. So basically this one starts in Egypt. You could go 1, 2 all the way to India. But you don't have to move 2. You can just move 1. It's up to you. Okay, their attack value is 3. And defense value is 3. So whether attacking or the defending, they get a hit on a 3, 2, or a 1. Basically, you have a 50% chance to get a hit. So they're very powerful in the game. You want to keep your tanks alive. That's why you want to kind of, if you can, keep some infantry with them in battles. That way, if you do have to take some hits, you can kill off your infantry and not your tank. It costs $6 to buy one. So they are, a little bit more expensive, twice the price of infantry. But with that, you get the extra movement and you get the extra hit points as far as attacking and defending. So they're very valuable. You want to try to keep them alive. Tanks are very important in this game. In other editions, you'll get another land unit, which will be artillery. You can also get AA guns, but those aren't in this edition. Basically, AA guns, they can shoot down planes, obviously, and then artillery, they can only move 1 as well, but yet they work. If you attack with infantry with them, the infantry's attack value goes up to a 2. But anyway, they're not in this edition. Okay, so next will be like the fighters. It costs $10 to buy a fighter. They're pretty expensive, but they can move four spaces. So you can move over sea zones or land. You can move up to 4. Let's say we're using this one in India, and we did an attack here in Southeast Asia. He's only moved 1 so far, and then we brought some other units with it, and the attack was over, and the plane survived. Well, basically, you would still be able to move it 3 in your non-combat moves, which we'll get into the gameplay. You'll understand what I'm talking about when it comes to that. But you'd still be able to move 3 more spaces. So I could go 1, 2, 3, and I could land it way up there. So basically, the movement of the planes is very, it's very high. So you can move it 4 spaces, or I could move it all the way up to 3 spaces away, all the way here, and attack that, and then land it in a country next to it. It would be a total of 4 movement. Okay, their attack value is just like the tank. It's a 3. So you would get a hit on a 1, 2, or a 3. Defensively, the fighter's a little bit better. They are a 4 or less. So basically, same thing, common sense. You would get a hit on a 4, 3, 2, or a 1 on the roll of the dice. So they're very good defensively. Okay, next is your bombers. Okay, they have a greater movement, obviously, because they're bombers and they can store more fuel. They're bigger. They can move up to 6 spaces. Okay, their attack value is very high. It's a 4. So you get a hit on a 4 or less. Defensively, they're horrible. They hit on a 1 or a less, which makes sense. Bombers wasn't very good against fighters in the air, so their defense value is only a 1. Okay, next we have I can be showing you this, I guess, as I go through it. Try to get this to focus in a little, and it's not wanting to work with me. Man, that's really blurry. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, I don't know what's up with my phone. I'm using an iPhone 4S or whatever. Anyway, submarines, they cost 6. All ships, they can only move 2. Okay, so the movement is 2. Attack value for the sub is a 2 or less. So a 2 or a 1, it gets a hit. Defensively, it's horrible. It's only a 1, or you can only get a hit on a 1. Transports, they cost 7. They move 2. They have no attack and no defense value. Basically, they're useless, because basically all they are is transports. But what a transport is just what it means. It's a transport. You can load up these, if you wanted to on your turn, you could load up 2 infantry and then move 2 spaces and then unload them somewhere. You're just transporting units. You can move 2 infantry, or you can move 1 tank and 1 infantry. You cannot move 2 tanks. You only have the option of moving a tank or an infantryman or 2 infantrymen. Or you can just load up 1 man or just 1 tank. You don't have to take up both slots in the transport. So transports are very important when you're wanting to take over the islands or move troops from the island to the mainland. Just like Japan starts off with 4 infantry and a tank in their home country, well, yeah, they're good for defending their capital, but you probably need those troops in Asia here. So you would load up probably either 2 infantry or an infantry and a tank, and then you would unload in one of these countries. You would move your transports wherever you would feel like you would need those units. So transports are very important, but as far as attacking and defense, they have no value. So you really have to protect them. You don't want to leave them by themselves where a plane could fly over and attack it, or an enemy ship could get to it, because there will be no rolling. The transport automatically dies. Okay. Then we have the destroyer, which it costs $8 to buy those. They have movement of 2. Attack value is a 2 or less. Defense value is a 2 or less. So they get hits on a 2 or a 1 on the roll of dice on attacking or defending. And the thing about the submarines and the destroyers, okay? Let's say you're engaged in a battle. The sub, was underwater. So if you have a sub just sitting in a sea zone somewhere, try to get away from this damn glare. If you have like this sub right here, and then you moved in this battleship of the British to this sea zone, the subs have the option of submerging. So like if the British did make that move, as Germany, you could say, I'm just going to submerge, and you don't have to go into battle. Okay? They're able to hide, which makes sense. They're submarines. But the key to it is the destroyers. They cannot hide from the destroyers. So there's a destroyer right here in this sea zone that British start off with. If they attacked with the British destroyer, then the sub does not have the option of submerging and running. The destroyer can see it and, can attack it. Okay, so that's that little thing right there. So that's why destroyers are kind of important. They're good to suck up hits if you have it with an aircraft carrier or a battleship, into a big naval battle. But mainly they're really good at finding the subs, because since subs are the cheapest naval ship, people tend to buy 2 or 3 subs. You buy subs more than anything, so it is kind of important to have destroyers in your fleet. Okay, so now the last 2 ships here, we have the aircraft carrier, costs $12, very expensive. Movement of 2, attack value is only a 1. Defensively, it's a 2 or less. So on their own, they're not that great, but you're able to land planes on them, which is very important that, if this sea zone ever got attacked, you have, the 2 planes here defending. And as we've gone over, planes defend at a 4 or less. So they're very strong at defense. So aircraft carriers are very important to have part of your fleet. They're really the strongest thing out there if you have 2 fighters on them. It really gives you some options. Okay, so they're very important. You want to have some aircraft carriers. You want to protect your aircraft carriers. In the global edition, they can get damaged and you can repair them and stuff like that. It really gets into detailed stuff in the bigger games, but in this version, 1 hit, they're dead. Okay. Alright, and the last ship, but not least, it's the most powerful ship in the game. It's called the Battleship. They cost 16. Movement of 2. Their attack value is a 4 or less. So, a roll of a die, 4 or less, 4, 3, 2, or a 1 is a hit. Defensively, the same thing, 4 or less. So they really have a great attack value and a defensive value. But the key to the Battleship, and they're the only ship that's like this, is that it takes 2 hits to destroy them. So on the first, once they get hit the first time, you would just basically turn it over on its side and just show that it's been hit. And you would still, the enemy would still need to hit it a second time to destroy it. So they're very strong. They take 2 hits. And after the battle's over, even though it's been hit once, it goes back to full power if it survived. So they're very strong. That's why they cost 16 each. They have great attack value, great defense value, and they take 2 hits to destroy. So battleships are the big bad boy of the ocean, just like it was in World War II. You know, battleships are very important, and so were aircraft carriers. Actually, aircraft carriers became more important. And that's why in the global edition, it takes 2 hits to destroy the aircraft carrier. But in this edition, it only takes 1 to destroy the aircraft carriers. Okay, so that's all your units in the game, their movement, their attack value, and their defense value. So we got that out of the way. So now you know the units, you know what they look like. Every unit for every country is going to look a little different. But you'll be able to kind of tell what they are. But so now you know the units, you should know the map with the capitals and the factories and the values on the little countries. And you should understand the money that you get per turn. So basically now we'll go through the steps of the actual turn. And there is a certain order in which order of play goes through. Russia will go first, then Germany, then the United Kingdom, then Japan, then the United States. And that's the order you always go by. Okay, and when it comes to the actual turn, okay, it says here you will have 6 steps. And basically, the first step is you will buy new units. So let's just start off, let's say we're Russia, okay? They're the first, country to make moves. So they start off with $7. So basically you would go knowing the cost of all the units. You would spend that $7. It's up to you what you think you need. And I will do a different strategy video for this edition. But for right now, I'm just teaching you how to play.